I've just come back from a cruise on Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. Is this nearly 20-year-old ship any good? Is it outdated? Is it tired? Is it worth going on? And is it worth the money? Come with me and we'll go through it. Can you believe it? This ship is nearly 20 years old and still looking great for its age. It's also a pretty big ship as well. There's quite a lot to do. Come with me and we'll go through it together. Let's break down the pros and cons, starting with the cabin. So as you walk in, you get a lovely wardrobe on the left. Great space. In my opinion, royal beds are so comfy. Storage is ample in this cabin. There's loads of it dotted around. And here's the bathroom. It's not the most modern, but it's clean and presentable. Towels were nice and soft. Everything in there was of good standard. And the shower had a proper shower door, which is nice to see. You don't get that on every single cruise line. And again, great use of space, lots of hooks on the back of the door. Room service menu here. And then you've got your desk bureau, waters and everything we plonked on it. Kettle, water and tea. You've got a fridge, empty as you can see, but fine. You've got two little sofa areas here, backed up to the window. Plenty of space for two people, more than enough in fact. This room is giving 1990 vibes though, with those horrible curtains, sorry. Continuing on with that dated theme, as you can see here, you've got quite old-fashioned furniture. No USB ports by the side of the bed. That drives me crazy. On a reefer, you'd think they'd do that. But otherwise, the room is alright. And a great view out of the window overlooking the promenade for people watching. Keep watching to the end when you go through the pros and cons, and you'll see some of the things about this room that I wasn't so crazy about. And on to the food. We're going to start with the free food, so the main dining room is first. As you can see, what a beautiful space this is. I love that chandelier right in the middle. I've already done a video on this. If you want to see it in more detail, please feel free to go ahead and click on the link. We started out on night one with fish cakes, pretty good. I had tomato soup, which was also pretty good. Quite small, hot, and delivered quickly. The steak was very good. I always go for the strip steak. I'm a bit predictable that way. I have to say, Austin's far more adventurous than me. He had the chicken curry, which unfortunately was a bit of a disappointment in this evening. Not much you can do about that. You never really know what you're going to get, but I like sticking with some of the safe ones. And we both had cheesecake together, which was nice. This is a theme cruise, so night 2 was the Eurovision Grand Final meal. As you can see, here's the special menu. Slow down if you want to see it. We had asparagus for starter. Sorry, I had asparagus for starter. Very nice. Not much of it, but it was good. Austin had the scallop gratin, which he said was very good. I didn't have any of it. I should have, but I didn't. And then the final was the prime rib surf and turf, which was really good. And quite rare for Royal Caribbean to do that for a main dining room meal. And then we had a chocolate cake shared for pudding. All very good. And on to the buffet. So the buffet in Royal Caribbean, if you haven't had it before, is called the Windjammer. This is a space that is pretty massive, right at the back of the ship, and it does all kinds of manner of foods. You're never going to get bored, honestly. You've got food from breakfast, lunch and dinner. My suggestion would be, as a kind of rookie suggestion, avoid going at peak times because you're just going to be faced with tons of huge lines of people, and you can just wait an hour and then get food whenever you want. But the food's very varied, as you can see here. Breakfast time, you get a kind of mix of all the usual staples, hot and cold food, fried food, bacon, sausages, porridge, oatmeal, fruits, breads, everything like that. Lunches, burgers and hot dogs are the kind of staple, but they do carvery meals and salads and cheeses and hams. And then dinner time's normally a little bit more of a specialty kind of occasion, so you'll have things like curries as well, Mexican food, they do specialty nights, all very good. And as you can see, nice, bright, spacious area, one of the areas that have benefited from the refit. You always get carvery meat like that. Doesn't that look incredible? Oh, it was so good. I had some as well. Very nice. But yeah, you've got plenty of food for the whole fam. And on to paid dining. So first one's Chops Grill. We did this on embarkation day to get away from the crowds. It's a nice big space, quite classic and old-fashioned looking inside, but it was all right. Food was good. Started out with steak, as you can imagine, and then went on to have a lava chocolate cake. All very good, about $30 each. We did Izumi on day 2, the hibachi, which is very well known. One recommendation here, book it far in advance because it gets booked out really quickly and it's very limited in terms of space. You've got a chef who does a lot of acting and he's very funny. Here's a full menu. You can slow down and pause if you want to take a better look. But one pro tip here is that you book it on the cruise planner before you go to save yourself some money. It's a lot more expensive on the day on the ship. So the format is they serve you a salad, then they start cooking the rice, as you can see, then they play some silly games with you, then they normally cook the main entree food. So this is the salad, this is the steak, the seafood, and they deliver the rice, and then they deliver the rest of the food, which, as you can see, this is my plate here. So I had shrimp and I had some steak and some rice. And you end the meal with a plated dessert. I had the matcha ice cream, very nice. Austin had the sesame balls, and the whole meal came to about $60 per person, which, you can decide if you think it's worth it or not, but I thought it was great. And now we head outside to the Perfect Storm water slides. They were added during the amplification process. There's Austin giving me a bit of a wave. You can see them there. They're a great addition, actually, and they're great fun. That's the sky pad. And then you'll see some of the details of the do's and don'ts of the Perfect Storm right at the very back of the ship. And closely connected to that, you'll see right behind it, there's Flowrider, which is the surf simulator. It's really good for people watching, I have to say. The weather was great when we were there, as you can see. Someone had a bit of an oopsie. And here's the sports court, which they have lots of different games and things going on there. And that connects to the climbing wall. You can see that just on the right hand side. I'm actually standing at this point in the Crown Lounge. And that there in the corner I'm pointing at is called the Sky Climber, which is great for kids. Here's this adult solarium, my favourite spot. Here are the pools at the back with the Splashaway Bay, which is the kids-centred pool area. As you can see, it's quite a big area as well. I think they added quite a lot there during the amplification process. And here are the main pools. As you can see here, they've been, again, freshly cleaned up and made more vibrant during the amplification process. It's a really nice space as well. It wasn't very busy on the day we were there. Done a little bit of a shot there. There was a little bit of a contest going on. And now we're back in. And this is me enjoying a Cosmopolitan during the LGBTQ meetup, which was there every evening. For the first time ever, we decided that we'd do bingo, and this is in the Star Lounge, which is a very large space, very social as well. What are we doing?
Bingo, baby.
And where are we on the ship?
Somewhere in the ship, Star Lounge.
Yay, he got it. If you want a bit of Cuban flair, Bolero's bar is a great space. You can see there we're tucking into some mojitos. It's a very fun space with live music in the evening as well. And here's a champagne bar, which is a really nice space to watch people go by. It's actually opposite guest services. On Freedom of the Seas, which is a sister ship, it's actually called the R Bar. I prefer the colour scheme in this one, it's much cooler and calmer. Here's Casino. It's, by the way, one of the few spaces you can actually smoke on the ship. And this is the Viking Crown Lounge and Olive and Twist Bar. So this space actually connects right up over to the Crown Lounge, which is a space exclusive for the Diamond guests and above. And they have a concierge in there if ever you need any issues sorted, which was actually why we were there that day. As you can see, the views are amazing. Obviously morning and evening shots here, having a Probably one of my favourite places to go on the ship is Playmakers. We love it on all the amplified ships. Both the drink is amazing there and is also the food.
Play my maker.
Seriously, if you find a Playmakers, make sure you get the Kentucky Ale. It's so good. I want to do a little bit of a video of the promenade in different lighting. As you can see here, there's a party going on at this point. We're during the day. That's it from the top. It's a massive space and it's still really well kept as well. They do parties in there. They do live entertainment as well, which is really cool. Now we're into the art. There's lots of it dotted around the ship. I thought I'd do a bit of a shout out to it. Some of it's quite quirky, as you can see here. If you want any of the art, well, not that art, but if you want any art, there is a place called Park West on all Royal Caribbean ships, and they do auctions throughout as well. If ever you fancy any free champagne, they do it there, so make sure you drop by. And now we're on to the entertainment. So there's the Star Lounge in the day, and in the evening they do live shows and band music there, which is pretty good. And then we're on to Studio B, which is a big entertainment section of the ship, which is actually an ice skating rink as well. There was a headlining act playing while we were there on the last night, which I'll go through at the end. And also they've got what's called the Red Bar, or Red Night, which is a special event on the last night. For kids, there's a dedicated kids club, but you've also got yourself an arcade here as well. You have to pay for credits, I think, which you can buy on the cruise planner. I think you get double the amount if you do it in advance. And here in the Sugar Beach sweet shop, they have the cutest little teddies, as you can see there. Very cute. There's the ice cream parlour. They sell Ben & Jerry's ice cream as well. There is pricing at the back if you slow down the video there. They had some more interesting flavours than you can get for free in the Windjammer. I wanted to mention the Crown and Anchor Society benefits, which is a loyalty scheme there. If you are in it, you get access to the Crown Lounge, which is a space that I showed you near the Olive and Twist bar, right up the top of the ship. And they have a concierge, which is brilliant. It really saves you time from having to queue up at the guest services. So if you have access to that, definitely use it. So the good bits, right. My fun part. So this part, I think that the ship is in really good condition considering how old it is. You think this ship is nearly 20 years old now. I think that things like the carpets in the main areas have been kept really well maintained. There were no fraying on it. It doesn't really look like it's been heavily worn, and they're obviously taken great care of it. All of the general main parts of the ship look really nice as well, which I think is a really good important thing about it. I think the amplification program has done really well. So this is the refit program we talked about before. So this is where they did things such as, you know, installing water slides in the ship, the Playmakers bar as well. There were loads of other areas of the ship where they've jazzed it up and made it kind of more family focused, which I think is a really cool thing. They've done it on lots of other ships as well. Interestingly though, comparing this to Freedom in the Seas, that has some better amplification things in it, such as a lime and coconut bar, which is in the pool, on the pool deck area. So I think there are some nuances there. I think the food is pretty solid as well. I think that the quality of the food is pretty good. You can draw your own, opinions on whether you agree or not. But I think that the availability of it's very good. I think that the buffet's nice. I think that the service in the main dining room was excellent. Again, I'd say here, this is one of the things I take away, that the service on both Freedom and Independence, both in the same Freedom class, the service has been probably the best I've ever had, or one of the best I've ever had on a cruise ship. And I wonder whether part of that is because the ship is quite old, the staff are quite familiar with it, so they're used to where everything is. Everything's very fast and very slick. Getting on the ship was brilliant as well. Really easy and smooth embarkation process. Disembarkation was exactly the same. And on to the bad. Right, so this was probably the most disappointing cabin we've had. Now, we had an interior room. That wasn't actually kind of even playing a part here. We had an interior room on MSC as well, and I actually really like having an inside room. The problem was down to the cleanliness. As you've seen here on the videos, the room had loads of hairs on the desk. Definitely not our hairs, very long black hairs, which is one thing. We didn't even see the cabin steward for the entire time we were on the cruise. We did actually report the issue that we had with both the hairs, and you'll see here we had a leak in the bathroom, which meant that it was essentially a paddling pool when we were using the shower. They did come and fix it, but that also was a problem. And just the level of general cleanliness. I mean, the sofas that we had, there were some stains on them, didn't look great, and it just looked really tired. If you look at there, you can see how out of an old-fashioned the space is, which I think is a shame. I think that it looks like it's from like the 1990s. I'm surprised actually that they refitted the ship and they didn't do anything like that, and they don't tend to do that on amplification programs with Royal. Other cruise lines do, and even their sister company Celebrity do. When they do refits, they also cover the rooms. So I'm intrigued to see why Royal Caribbean don't do that, to be honest. And the last bad thing is the cabanas. They are, I think, in my opinion, a complete rip-off. They cost hundreds of dollars a day to hire, and you don't get very much for them except for this reserve space. And the same thing applies to all the Royal Caribbean ships. So Royal, if you ever end up listening to this, and you probably never will, please get rid of your cabanas. They are, I think, a waste of money. So you're probably wondering how much this cost us. So it actually ended up costing £852, which is probably about $1,000 at the moment, which, I mean, make your own mind up what you think of that. It was a 3-night cruise. It includes all the food, obviously the accommodation, and that also includes the gratuities as well. I think it's quite expensive for what it is. I think one of the problems is that you end up paying an additional extra when you're sailing from Southampton in the UK. That's something that I think a lot of cruise lines do. But when I compare it against MSC, when we went on the Virtuosa recently, it's probably about another £200 more expensive. So maybe use that to factor in whether you think it's worth doing or not. So what do I think of the cruise overall? I think I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think that the ship itself is pretty good. Not as good as Freedom of the Seas, which is probably my favourite one, but I think it's one of the top ones. I think the service on board was fantastic. I think that the food was good, the entertainment was good. I think the only thing that really let it down here was just some of the things that, you know, made the ship look tired. I think it's in need of some renovation, but otherwise I think it's cool. If you've liked this review and you found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.